lot of superhero fans that would love to see you do another Batman film. Have you ever thought about it?
There's one coming out every week. It's not. There's enough people doing it, I think.
But they're not like that '89 film. That was an incredible film, one of the greatest superhero films of all time.
Well, I mean, it was fun to be a part of something that felt new at the time. Do you know what I mean? And so that's always exciting when you feel. Now it's not just, they find different takes on it, but at the time it felt very different and special. So it was nice to be a part of that newness.
Okay, welcome to the third episode of our special site series dedicated to my favourite superhero, Batman. I'm Stephen Nicholson.
And I'm Paul Nicholson.
And over the course of 10 shows, we're rewatching, critiquing and ranking all the Batman movies up to 2022's The Batman. So in the previous show, I extolled the virtues of Tim Burton's 1989 Batman movie. Today we return to Gotham for Burton's more macabre take on The Dark Knight in 1992's Batman Returns.
I've been down here too long. It's time for me to ascend.
From the sewers of Gotham, a new villain emerges.
You didn't invite me, so I crashed!
From the rooftops of Gotham, the perfect enemy comes to life.
I am Catwoman. Hear me roar. Yeah.
And the only one who can save this city is a creature of the night.
Hey, stud. I thought we had something together.
We do. While she craves a romance she can sink her claws into,
You're catnip to a girl like me.
he plots a foul reign of destruction.
My dear penguins, thanks to Batman, the time has come to punish all of Batman!
You missed. Above Gotham looms its greatest hero.
What prompted you to give the film a winter setting? Because this adds so much.
Well, it's just in deciding to do the film. I've never had that sort of thing happen before, and I wasn't really interested in. And once we thought about the new characters, thought about setting it in a different place, because we were working with new people and stuff, and it was not going to be a case where you could just use the same sets and all of that, so it needed a different energy, just as a movie, and to do it and to just create a different kind of energy, and all of that, working with new people, the new characters, doing it in a different place, new writer, all of that, all of that was necessary, and just helped kind of create another feel, and another and there's just something about these characters that I just find very compelling in this world of night, and the coolness of it. It's like you're inside of somebody's mind or something, and I just really they're very psychological characters, and it's like fairy tale characters in a way, or these kind of weird sort of symbolic images, and just all of those things created a good energy.
And Burton is one of the most interesting stylists at work in the movies today. His movies are always terrific to look at. Batman Returns is consistently fascinating as a visual experience. But it's sort of hard to care about this movie. The storyline is confusing, the characters are only sketchily developed, and it's impossible to get involved in the fantastical story. I always felt I was watching from the outside. There are some strange contradictions here. Batman is not a successful movie, but it is, visually at least, an inspired one.
Well, you know, Roger, I think that there are elements to get involved in the story. I did, and I enjoyed the picture. And the two parts that I enjoyed were the Penguin and the Catwoman characters. I think Michelle Pfeiffer is a good comedian and doing good light comedy. When we see her as the office worker who's going to be turned in after she's abused into Catwoman. And then Danny DeVito, I thought was actually pretty threatening and sad as this little baby, this ill-formed baby who's abandoned. And I thought, this is what Tim Burton does. He gives us characters, including Batman himself, who all have this private pain that they then work out publicly.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is with Catwoman and with the Penguin is that they emerge, they are developed as characters, we get the backstory, and then they don't go anywhere. There is no engine pulling this train. There is no story to really get us from the beginning of this movie to the end, and instead what you have are set pieces, set design, character design, costume design, even personality design, but no narrative.
The problem in the picture, it's not a perfect picture. The problem is the Max Schreck character. Frankly, he isn't particularly interesting. And his story and what he wants to do and how these other two characters fit in, I agree with you, that isn't worked out. But the point is that in seeing the story, I just saw this as a personal story rather than an action story.
Yeah, but the thing is, maybe if the Penguin had wanted to do what it is that the Shrek character wants to do, that would give him some kind of an agenda.
I agree with you.
Because the problem is you have the two most interesting characters basically standing around as participants in somebody else's story.
There's no need for Max Schreck, Christopher Walken, in this picture at all.
And yet I would say, once again, Burton makes great-looking pictures.
Okay.
So Batman Returns was released in 1992 and directed by Tim Burton. And the plot for this one, the monstrous penguin played by Danny DeVito, who lives in the sewers beneath Gotham, joins up with a wicked, shock-headed businessman Max Schreck, played by Christopher Walken, to topple the Batman, once again played by Michael Keaton, once and for all. But when Shrek's timid assistant, Selina Kyle, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, finds out and Shrek tries to kill her, she is transformed into the sexy Catwoman. She teams up with Penguin and Shrek to destroy Batman, but sparks fly unexpectedly when she confronts the Caped Crusader. So the gross for this movie, it grossed $267 million worldwide on a budget of $80 million, and this was a 33% drop compared to Batman. So it made over 3 times its budget, and it was the highest grossing movie domestically of 1992 and was number 2 to Aladdin worldwide. Ratings wise, it's 82% fresh Rotten Tomatoes score, 68 out of 100 critic Metascore on IMDb, a 73% Rotten Tomatoes audience score, and a 7.1 out of 10 IMDb audience rating. And a fact for you, that Annette Bening was originally cast as Catwoman, but was replaced by Michelle Pfeiffer when she became pregnant. Pfeiffer's $3 million salary was $2 million more than was offered to Bening. And in summary, director Tim Burton's dark, brooding atmosphere, Michael Keaton's work as the tormented hero, and the flawless casting of Danny DeVito as the Penguin and Christopher Walken as well, make the sequel better than the first. Well, that's according to Rotten Tomatoes. I don't necessarily agree with them on that, but yeah. Did you see this at the cinema when it came out, Paul?
Yeah, I saw it with you. I think it's a really good film. And in a way, it's almost like it's not a Batman film, but I just love the atmosphere and the feeling of it. It's like a different world. Michelle Pfeiffer's in it as well. You can't imagine anybody else being Catwoman.
Yes, I remember seeing it in 1992. At that point, I think Batman was my favourite movie of all time, so I was very excited for this. And I remember buying the Susie and the Banshees CD single for the title track for the movie, Face to Face, buying that in advance, and yeah, rushed out to see this the day it opened. And I found it a strange movie. I'll maybe talk about why in just a second. But somebody else, I remember, had written this, and I agree. I think Batman was Tim Burton directing a Batman movie, and in this one, this is Batman appearing in a Tim Burton movie. Because this is full on Tim Burton, and maybe a little bit too much so. And I say that as a fan of his. But yeah, I remember coming out of the cinema and thinking something just felt off about it. I did enjoy it, but something felt off about it. And it wasn't until years later I kind of put my finger on it. Now, one is it's a very gloomy, macabre, gothic movie set at Christmas, masquerading as a summer blockbuster. I think it would have been a much better idea to have released it in December 1992. The Christmas, it would have fitted perfectly, in the holiday season. But yeah, certainly I think the mood of the movie and everything, I can see why Tim Burton was kind of ousted as director. But I think the main reason it felt off for me is this. I think, and you actually mentioned it as well, it's like Gotham has lost its sense of time and place compared to the first movie. This film, the characters from the original movie, they don't feel like they're in the same world as the previous one. It's like you've taken the same characters and put them in an alternate version of Gotham City. And I know this one was filmed in the US as opposed to the UK, but just yeah, it's just something off about it. And I think a lot of that is the set design, where you're not seeing anything from the first movie. Like the church tower, from the end of the first movie, that main street where the parade takes place, you're not seeing any of that. It feels very enclosed. So yeah, that's how it feels a little bit off. However, I actually probably enjoy the movie more now than I did back then. I think you've got great casting. Obviously, Danny DeVito was born to play the Penguin, although maybe his iteration was a little bit too weird. As you say, Michelle Pfeiffer's great as Catwoman. Probably Christopher Walken maybe steals the show as Max Schreck. He's great in it, just really being Christopher Walken, which is brilliant. I think Michael Keaton's as strong as ever. But I think you've maybe got the same criticism in this one as you had for the previous one, and you'll have in the next two, which is it maybe focuses far too much on the villains and not enough on Bruce Wayne and Batman, considering it is his movie, and that was only remedied when Christopher Nolan came in and done his movies. But yeah, another great score from Danny Elfman. I think some beautiful imagery from Tim Burton, and a bit of a hidden hero of this movie is Shrek's son Chip, who's like kind of gormless, big gormless guy. He's always quite amusing in it. So yeah,
it's just very dark. If I think of the original film, it's light. Or is this just almost like it's underground? It's like a stage show as opposed to like a film.
I agree. It does feel very studio set. I agree with you there, yeah. But it's a shame that we lose Michael Keaton after this one. That's the biggest shame. But Burton wasn't coming back, so either was he. So where would you rank this in terms of the Batman movies, Paul? Top, middle, or lower tier? So in the previous show, I ranked Batman 8 to 9 in top tier. Where would you put Batman 8 to 9? Top, middle, or lower tier?
Top tier.
What about this one?
I'd put that in the top tier as well, actually. I like it for different reasons, but I think
I don't know if this one. I would probably put it at the top of the middle tier. Yeah, top of the middle tier. Bit of a cop out.
Well, you try to do the things that you did in the first one because you have to. He's the same person, and then say, okay, what didn't I get to accomplish in the first one that I can do now? And for instance, in this one, I tried to brighten him up a little sometimes. I didn't want him to be consistently dark all the time. We already established that in the first one. This time we try to find new ways of portraying him, maybe make him a little bit funnier when he can.
Well, time for us to take our cowls and capes as we exit Gotham City. Before we go though, we'd love to hear what you think of the movie. Please get in touch and we'll read out your comments on one of the upcoming shows. And you'll find our contact details in the show description. So, Penguin and Max Schreck are dead, Catwoman has disappeared, and behind the scenes we say goodbye to Michael Keaton, Tim Burton and composer Danny Elfman. What's going to happen next? Well, in the next show we turn our attention to 1995's Batman Forever with a new Caped Crusader, Val Kilmer and Robin, Chris O'Donnell. Throw in a new director, Joel Schumacher, and stars Nicole Kidman, Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones. And we've got a very different take on The Dark Knight. So be sure to come back for that show on the same Bat channel. Until then, keep trimming.
Trimming the Movie Fat is a Stephen and Paul Nicholson production. We'd love to hear from you. Contact us by voicemail via the Spotify link in the episode description. You can email us at trimmingthemusicfat@gmail.com. Keep up to date with the show and access exclusive content by joining our Facebook group, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and following us on TikTok. You can also check out our website at trimmingthemusicalfat.com. Thanks for listening.